Firstly, terima kasih banyak yang masih ada di sini. I know the crowd is getting lesser, but those of you who are still with us, terima kasih. Thank you for being with us. I hope that this session has given you a lot more than you initially expected. Thank you, gentlemen, very young and handsome gentlemen here who have done such a great job in their campaigns. A huge round of applause. I always tell people if you have won a Smarties Awards, then really pat yourselves on the back because kita tahu ya back-endnya tuh crazy seperti apa, para jurinya seperti apa, your scoring systems, the detailing on which the campaigns are looked at is remarkable. So congratulations once again on winning so many awards in Smarties Indonesia 2023. Good luck for this year's Smarties.
Fingers crossed. Thanks. Our pleasure.
So, a common question to both of you to start with. We saw the 4 winning campaigns, but now that the two of you are here, I'm actually curious to know what was the big idea behind the scene, that initial idea that came up, that shaped your respective strategies. What ignited that big idea? Maybe, you first.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's very, very good opportunity for us to share our love of our brand married with the beauty and magic of Ramadan. So basically, the big idea actually revolving around the beauty and the magic of Ramadan itself. So we want to align our idea towards that angle. Because I think there's a lot of discussions in regards to the multifaceted of Ramadan itself. There's a lot of moments that needs to be decoded first. And we as a brand need to ensure that we select the best key moments for Ramadan itself. It's a good deeds. It's a holy month for sure. And the most interesting angle that Grab saw last year was that Ramadan is the place or the time for people to share. Even though they are not really haves or rich, it's actually ladang kebaikan atau ladang amal. Whoever you are, whatever your status is, berbagi or giving is the beautiful angle that Grab actually try to tap in. So it's actually existing inside of Ramadan itself. And then we marry it with who brand is, who Grab is. And we understand ourselves as a brand is the enabler. Because we are not owning our cars, right? We are not owning a motorbike. We are not owning merchants or restaurants. But we are in the middle of everything. The center point of PAX, we call it passengers or consumers. MAX, we call it merchant executive, restaurants, business owners, and so on, etc. And also, last but not least, which is our drivers. So we are at the center of this connectivity. So we as a brand understand that we connect people from one human to another, and then giving is the key insight of Ramadan that we want to tap in. So that is why pesan untuk berbagi born. So
okay.
Yeah.
That's a great story. Thank you. Aman, tell me, we saw the Downy campaign. That was so cute. So tell me about the big idea at the back of the whole, meeting rooms that happened.
It was quite messy, actually. Okay, so basically for Downy last year, we took different route. Instead of seeing Ramadan as one big event, we actually, as Indonesian, we know Ramadan is actually multiple moments that people actually have a core memory that they actually always remember when they have Ramadan, right? So taking a step back with our brand challenge as well. Basically, brand challenge is very simple, how to make consumer to use Downy. So very simple. But if we go towards Ramadan, right, how we can make it relevant for consumer during Ramadan as well. So it goes to the category inside during Ramadan, where in Bahasa Indonesia we have the term of, especially Muslim must be know about this one, like sebagian kebersihan sebagian dari iman. So basically everyone would like to do everything, all good deeds, looking good, smells good as well. So that's where what Downy would like to play in, basically. How to make Downy as the scent of Ramadan by tapping into the micro moments that consumers actually relate the most. So when we talk about big moments, it's very easy, basically fasting season. But if it is about micro moments, everyone have a core memory where they actually think about, oh, this is my time to have a iftar, to have a reunion with my high school friends, meeting my high school sweetheart, for example. And also like going to, oh, it's gonna be my nightmare, basically, because like I'm going to be mateless for like 2 weeks, which everyone can relate to that. So Downey was thinking, instead of tapping into big moments of Ramadan, why don't we own every single micro moments that consumer actually relates? So that's actually the overall idea that is coming from to this sensational Ramadan campaign.
Wow, no, that was great. Thank you. Now, before moving back to Haekal, now that we're still talking about your big idea, how did the cross-platform usage contribute to achieving the campaign's objectives, especially in terms of viewership, shares, and business growth? I mean, it is intriguing when you talk about micro moments, but tell me in terms of achieving those campaign objectives.
Yeah. So I think on this one, right? Have a very honest conversation as well. Everyone would like to win Ramadan, but not everyone has the money to win Ramadan, right? And talking about the bigness of Ramadan, there's a lot of people would like to invest on that one, making it very hard for consumer to basically see which brand actually the most stand out. So we need to think and understand the consumer path to purchase, what will be the moments where they can actually interact with our brand. So having said that, we took a different route. Last year, it was the year of influencer. Basically, the content creation is a rise with the TikToks as well, basically. The way they enjoy media, the way they enjoy digital is no longer just looking at the watching movie streaming or iVideo. It's becoming like real content creation. Scrolling, I can sit there for like good 30 minutes to just like scrolling, just like that, right? So how we can hijack that? That's where Downey actually think, why don't, instead of we spending money on creating one big video like years before, we just like, we partner with influencer, go into the every single moments that is relatable with this influencer and maximize there. So that's actually the way of our thinking before, that make us kind of like cutting edge a bit versus other campaign that has been invested a lot on the productions, basically.
Luar biasa, keren banget. Haekal, back to you.
Yes, Shanti.
Okay, could you elaborate on Grab's media strategy for a cause that amplifies driving donations, right? During the month of Ramadan, which is, I know it is part of Ramadan to donate, but still, you maintained a consistency in communication across different touch points. So what would you say to, the contribution of the success that you achieved, especially when you looked at, making a difference in the lives of so many families, right? So how did you maintain your consistency in that kind of communication, especially with a sensitive topic?
Right. I'm trying to piggyback on what Awan just mentioned, is that Ramadan is very tricky. It's very sexy as a brand to tap in, but we need to ensure that we can break the clutter. By how? By ensuring the first about the meaningfulness, relevancy, and how we can ensure that we cut the clutter in terms of our media spending by following our existing consumer activities or consumer journeys. So that's the context of everything that we do in terms of making sure our winning media strategy comes into place. Yeah. The second point, what I want to mention is that 3 O's. The first O is about one single message. The second one is about omni-channel approach, as you mentioned earlier, that we really consistent in delivering our message, which is, hey, during your transaction, in daily basis, like millions of transactions happen every day in Grab as a platform, be it when you want to go to your campus, work, or delivery order, even delivering your hampers to your target audience. So we kind of ensure that whenever consumer doing the transaction or during that transaction, we give the one single message that I mentioned. Hey, look, I know that you're transacting in your daily basis. We're not changing your habit. But how about if when you're selecting the payment method, you add one more toggle, which is donation. As simple as that. And the last but not least is optimization. Because, Grab has a lot of verticals, right? We have transport, foods delivery, dine-in, express, and so on. So by having this one big umbrella on pesan untuk berbagi that can be tailored in every verticals is very critical for the mother brand to live and breathe with their child. So that's how we win in the media. So 3 O's, one single message, optimization, and also optimizations and also omni-channels. Correct. Thank you.
Great. I loved it. I love the details there. I hope it's helping everyone here as well. So back to you, Awan. Considering the success of Pasti Harum Tahan Lama campaign, what key lessons did you learn and how do you plan to leverage these insights for future campaigns, particularly in the context of evolving consumer preferences and the digital trends, of AI, retail media, omnichannel marketing, influencer marketing? So tell me the key lessons you've learned from last year and how would you implement them for this year?
Got it. So I think great insight will not be diminished by time, basically. It will last. So I think the lesson that I learned, number one, is you need to stay true with your category insight. What is the overarching needs of the consumer that you need to address? That's number one. The second one is stay true to your brand challenge. Like Downy, we stay true that we are asking consumer to basically using us, making the scent is becoming the main topic of our discussion as well. So that's one. I think the second one is on how you actually working together with influencer. This year is very fast already. We think that influencer marketing is overrated. So it's becoming like everyone's already using that. Spreading mere awareness is something that we actually need to challenge ourselves as well as the industry as well. Instead of asking them to just like, hey, I'm using this education and etc., asking them to basically do the sell also. So teach them on what will be the quantifiable KPI that we would like them to actually achieve. Versus just like brief them with the creative that they need to do this, this, and that. They need to also help us to do the selling. So I think that will be the lesson that I would like to do. We already done this today. A couple of influencers do a lot of pushback, which that's fine. We also have many other influencers to actually on board with us.
Wow, that's quality over quantity kind of influences.
Yes.
Great. Back to you, Haekal.
Yep.
Similar to what we are trying to, get out of this particular question, since you wanted to encourage your users to donate to less fortunate families in Indonesia for this. As you mentioned, the 3 O's and the shift of the mindset and everything else. Moving ahead this year, how do you plan to carry forward this positive momentum into your future marketing efforts and endeavors for this tahun inilah 2024?
When we're talking about the future, we're talking about today, actually.
Iya, maksudnya,
Just giving additional context that today is our Ramadan campaign for this year is launched. So that's what I mean. Yeah. So fingers crossed on we kind of repeat the success story. What are the key ingredients that we learned from last year? There are several. The first one is that context is the king. Context meaning we need to understand the context from our consumers. We need to understand the context of Ramadan, which part of the Ramadan facets, micro moments probably on P&G term, whatever you want to call it, right? Context is the king and content is the queen. So they have to marry together. What I mean about the content is that one single message and so on, etc. And also clarifying what is the brand role. The clearer your brand role is towards how we solve our consumers' problem, the better. Like for example, we have a lot of taxi types in transport Grab car, for example, then we need to be able to understand during the iftar, there's a lot of buka puasa bareng after office, right? So the right taxi type supposed to be a bigger car. So those are the things that we push further. So those are the key learnings that we got. And last but not least, after context and content, last but not least is the delivery itself. How them both together deliver the magic towards this moment. Thank you.
Awesome, brilliant. I know the time is up. I have one last question because this is, the most exciting part about the entire day's session, when we're talking about AI and how AI has, switched the mindsets of a lot of brands and marketeers. So how do you foresee, and this is a common question for both of you, so maybe Awan, you can answer that first. How do you foresee the integration of technology and digital innovations in the future festive campaigns, and what role might these advancements play in enhancing consumer engagement with, the tools and technologies that we have?
I think it's going to be scary, like really, really scary.
In terms of transparency, brand safety, and...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also it's literally scary because it can be perceived as a so number one, creative can be very explorative. So now you think that creative that you see already like, oh my God, this is mind-blowing. Later on with AI, combining human intelligence with the machine learning is basically something that out of this world already. You will see a lot of more and more crazy creative campaign that brands actually creating. That's number one. Second one is the media targeting will be very, very focusing, very, very focused, very, very targeted. Combining both, then it will create the campaign, create an ads as if it speaks to you directly. As if that the brands actually know what I'm doing now, I'm breathing or not, or like I'm watching what, they will directly speak to me with the most creative articulation that the brands actually have. So I think that's one. The second one thing that's intriguing also is how we can leverage AI to also learning on what will be the moments or event that we as brand can actually intercept to the consumer to make it not like a branded kind of ads. So make it like no campaign kind of thing. So when consumer actually see doing something, they can actually flawlessly think about that brand because like, it's like very, very smoothly pop up in their phone or in whatever the touch point they actually see at that time. So I think that's two.
I love it. Great. Hi, Carl.
For me, AI is inevitable. It's like, I mean, when the first computer was born, probably this is the exact kind of a wondering of those people around that time about what will happen in the world, right? The more we embrace the change, the better. For me, especially when I'm handling Grab right now. Previously, I worked in Traveloka. So these kind of apps, AI or machine learnings is very helpful because we really can understand, because we have a first-party data, right? You don't want to be in a situation where you give the wrong recommendation to your audience, right? Wrong ayam goreng, for example, and then that person is vegetarian. You don't want that to happen. So it's already ingrained with how we do work in day-to-day basis, and we need to embrace that. So that's one, hyper-personalization. And I think that can also apply not only in the tech company, but also in every single companies, because we know like media is part of the things that can be scrutinized in terms of how we do the hyper-personalization, as I mentioned earlier. That's one. The second point is that I'm kind of a bit curious, and then Kitty just mentioned a lot about experimentation. I'm also a firm believer of kaikaku, or experimentation, in a bold manner, making sure that we are not left behind in terms of the innovation, including creating a key visuals coming from the mid-journey, for example. Why not, right? So that's one. The second point is that there's so many resizes in terms of when you put the first main key visuals into a lot. I mean, 12 years ago, probably you just want to put severals in out-of-home TV and that's it, right? But now there's millions of medium and millions of dimension and sizes. So how about if we create this kind of optimization and automation for one key visual, click and then automate. So that's part of the possibilities that we can unlock together.
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing those insights. I must admit that, this has been extremely interesting for us as MMA as well to pick up some key takeaways for today, which I hope will help the audience here as well. But I do want to mention that at a global level, MMA is focusing heavily on AI for marketing, for marketers and brands, to help them navigate into this space. So MMA is doing a lot of work on AI. We had a session today, and we're getting those learnings at a regional and market level as well. And hopefully, we're trying, Bapa Rohit is here. He's the, global head for Smarties worldwide. And we're also looking at how we can integrate, the AI-based campaigns into the categories for Smarties in 2024. So this is just for everybody here. Smarties 2024 is going to become a lot more interesting, a lot more exciting. But this is great stuff from both of you. Terima kasih.